All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Scream 2, 1997. This is going to be an A recommendation. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I just couldn't get into this. Scream 2 is a 1997 U.S. slasher film directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson. It stars David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jamie Kennedy, Laurie Metcalf, Jeff O'Connell, Elise Neal, Timmy Oliphant, Jada Pickett. Boy, was I glad when she got knifed. And you know when you're rooting for the killer? Because all of the people on the college campus are effing stupid. Anyways, and Liev Schreiber, a sequel to Scream, 1996. The film was released on December 12th, 1997 by Dimension Films as the second installment in the Scream film series. When I reviewed Scream 3, immediately Adrian recommended Scream 2. I guess because it's a lamestream slasher movie. I don't know. Scream 2 takes place 2 years after the first film, and again, it follows the character of Sidney Prescott Campbell, who looks very good, but there's no nudity in this. It just has David Arquette rubbing Courtney Cox tank top with his hand. That's the extent of what they call sexual situation in this movie. Again, I don't have to go to confession for watching this because there's no nudity in it, right? Sidney Prescott, Miss Campbell, along with other survivors of the Woodsboro Massacre at the fictitious Windsor College in Ohio, where they get targeted by a copycat killer using the guise of Ghostface. Like its predecessor, Scream 2 combines the violence of the slasher genre with elements of comedy, satire, and whodunit mystery, while satirizing the cliche of film sequels. That was another annoying thing about this movie was they're trying to say that the sequels are better than the original in film class. And they're talking about all these lamestream movies like Godfather and House, none of which I've actually seen. No mention of Amityville Horror or Exorcist. Williamson provided a 5-page outline for a sequel to Scream when auditioning his original script, hoping to entice bidders with the potential of buying a franchise. Following a successful test screening of Scream and the film's financial and critical success, Dimension moved forward with the sequel while Scream was still in theaters, with the principal cast all returning to star, Craven to direct, and Beltrami to provide music. I thought Danny Elfman did the music on this. The film faced controversy following its significant issues with plot information leaking onto the internet, revealing the identity of the killers. Combined with the film's rush schedule, the script was rewritten off and pages were sometimes completed on the day of filming. And it shows. Despite these issues, Scream 2 earned $170 million at the box office. Only 683,362 less than Scream. There's a fool born every minute. Oh, did I mention it received positive reviews from critics? Why? Because it was woke? Beltrami received positive critical reception for his score for the evolving the musical themes of the characters created in Scream, although some critics claimed that the most memorable pieces from the film were created by composers Danny Elfman and Hans Zimmer. Elfman's contribution has been specially written for the film, but Zimmer's score for Broken Arrow 1996 was controversially used in the film, replacing Beltrami's own work. The film's soundtrack achieved moderate sales success, reaching number 50 on the Billboard 200. It was followed by several additional sequels, starting with Scream 3 in 2000, which is a better movie, I think. If memory serves me, I thought it was a better movie. Release dates December 10th, 1997. And in Hollyweird, that's the Hollyweird release date. And then the rest of the United States, it was December 12th, 1997. Running time, 120 minutes too long. Budget, $24 million. And box office, $172 million. Can we say lamestream, people? Lamestream. I love the first one the best. I have this. Oh, Adrian's in the chat room. You missed British Crumpet Man earlier today. Adrian says, I love the first one the best. I have the series on DVD, including part 3 on VHS. Damn, no titties, boy. No nudity because of 90s feminism. No, original is the best. 90s woke crap. Hell, we got ourselves 2 in the chat room on the politically incorrect comments. All right. Here we go. 2 Windsor College seniors, Maureen Evans and Phil Stevens, attend a sneak preview of Stab, a film based on the events of the Woodsboro Massacre. And right off the bat, the bald-headed hoe, as Chris Rock called her, Miss Jada Pinkett Smith, she says, there are not enough black victims in this film. We need black victims. There's not enough black representation. What's wrong with these whitey people? And in a way, she has a point, because these dumb white women, they don't carry any mace or guns to protect themselves after this, that, and the others being killed. They just Neve Campbell, she just her eyes are always bulging with these tears, like she's getting ready to cry. But her weapon is the equipment from her theater stage at her college. instead of pepper spray or guns, she uses the equipment at the theater, and she knows precisely where the killer is before she lets loose the the styrofoam rocks that apparently kill the killer. But she's not sure, so she just shoots her in the head with her own gun that she should have been holding in the first place. But these women are utterly unwilling to, these stupid white women are utterly unwilling to protect themselves from the attacker. So they just run around screaming and they throw things at him. Oh man. Briefly exiting, I have to admit the kills are decent though in this one. And I was surprised by the identity of the killer at the end. So it's not all bad. It's like half of it is bad. Briefly exiting the theater to use the bathroom, Phil is killed by the masked killer known as Ghostface. He sticks a knife right through his cheek in the men's room stall. The guy's trying to listen to some weird sounds in the men's room stall, and the guy just goes like this right through the stall. Ghostface sits beside Maureen in Phil's place, and he stabs her repeatedly, unnoticed by the raucous crowd, leading her to climb up on the stage in a cry for help, which the audience mistakes for a publicity stunt until she falls dead. Good riddance to her. I had no use for that whiny ass. Jada Pinkett Smith. Yeah, after Jada Pinkett Smith complained that there weren't enough white people in the Stab movie and they needed more black victims, she became the second black victim of the movie. Terrible. Well, it wasn't all terrible. So Karate Man and Adrian are in the chat room. It must be daytime in Australia. Did I buy a ghost face mask? No. No, I did not. Okay. The news media, including local journalist Debbie Salt, descend on Windsor College, where Sidney Prescott is a student along with her roommate, Hallie McDaniel, another stupid college kid, her new boyfriend, Derek Feldman, another dork, fellow Woodsboro survivor, Randy Meeks, and Derek's best friend, Mickey Altieri. Two other Woodsboro survivors arrive, police officer Dewey Riley, to offer Sidney protection. Wow, he's her free bodyguard? Okay. And he's hobbling around and doing like this with his hand. And reporter Gail Weathers to cover the case. In her super tight tank top, Gail Weathers, Courtney Cox, was also in the sequel. I believe Dewey Riley is in the sequel, and Sidney Prescott. Wow, they're all of the survivors of this film are in the screen too. Gail and her new cameraman, Joel Jones, unsuccessfully tried to stage a confrontation between Sidney and Cotton Weary, who is attempting to gain fame from his exoneration for the rape and murder of Sidney's mother, Maureen Prescott. That evening, Sidney and Hallie attend a party at the sorority house, Delta Lambda Zeta, and they're listening to lame pop punk music. At Omega Beta Zeta, another nearby sorority house, Ghostface murders student Cece Cooper, another dumb blonde. After the partygoers leave to witness Cece's crime scene, Ghostface enters into Delta Lambda Zeta and he attacks Sidney. Ghostface injures Derek. but he flees when the police arrive. Later, after realizing that Cece is a diminutive for Casey, Gale theorizes that the new ghost face is targeting students with the same names as the Woodsboro murder victims. Wow, Courtney Cox, you're a real genius. She runs around with her cameraman looking like a dumb blonde, but she's not blonde. She's got the it looked like she ironed her hair. Because it just goes straight down over her ears. Randy theorizes that the killer is likely someone Sydney knows and is patterning the killers after a movie sequel. Here's another stupid subplot. Okay, so apparently these movie sequels are cover for the killer because the conservative coalition, the Bob Dole voters, they can say, well, the murder victim watched too many movies, and he's obsessed with too many slasher movies. That's why that's responsible for his behavior. Blah blah blah. Who cares what you think, Wes Craven? Randy theorizes that the killer is likely someone Sydney knows and is patterning the killings after a movie sequel. Soon after, Ghostface calls Gale, Dewey, and Randy while they're together in daylight on the college campus. Despite their attempts to find him, Ghostface ultimately ambushes Randy, putting him up in Joel's media van where he is murdered. Shortly after, Joel, fearing he will be targeted next, skips town. As night falls over campus, Dewey and Gale go to a building to review tapes of hostage shot by Joel, hoping to spot the killer in the vicinity of previous crime scenes, but Ghostface attacks them, stabbing Dewey. This is right before the dry hump scene between David Arquette and Courtney Cox. Two officers drive Sydney and Hallie to a safe house. But Ghostface intercepts the car and he murders them. In the ensuing struggle, Ghostface is knocked unconscious, but he recovers and kills Hallie. He kills Hallie. So we've got a third black victim in this film. Do we have enough black representation in this film, Wes Craven? You've got your three black victims. You are officially politically correct. Drawn to music playing in the campus theater while seeking safety, Sydney finds Derek in the auditorium tied to a cross from an earlier fraternity hazing ritual. Ghostface arrives, and I don't want to reveal the killer, so I'll just move on to the production. Here we go. While writing the script for Scream, Williamson also developed 2 5-page treatments for potential sequels. Following the release of Scream, Williamson would confirm that he had considered a sequel concept where the character of Sidney Prescott would now be attending college, and a copycat Ghostface killer would start a new series of murders. Dimension Films agreed to purchase the sequel in March 1997, by which point Williamson had already had 42 pages of the plot developed. So-called plot. What plot, really? There's a plot in this film, which involved 4 different killers: Derek, Hallie, Cotton Weary, and Nancy Loomis, who is the mother of one of the previous film's killers. By July 1997, filming began on Scream 2, but after Williamson transferred his script to the production, it was leaked onto the internet in full, revealing the identity of the killers and a large amount of the involved plot. This resulted in the production continuing to film with only a partial script, while Williamson conducted extensive rewrites, changing much of the film's finale, the identity of the film's killers, and drastically altering the roles of the other characters, such as Randy Meeks and Joel. To avoid another such incident and prevent sensitive plot details being revealed through other means, the actors were not given the last pages of the script until weeks before shooting, and the pages that revealed the killer's identity were only provided on the last day the scene was shot to the actors involved. The short production schedule on Scream 2 and his work on other projects meant that Williamson's final script used for the film was detailed in some areas but lacking in others, with Wes Craven forced to write and develop certain scenes as they were being filmed. The incident was the first in which the film was significantly affected by an internet leak. In 2007, Williamson claimed the leaked script was a dummy draft that was crafted specifically to avoid leaked details. Williamson claimed there were 3 dummy endings written. They were worried the killer's identity would be leaked, so we wrote several endings, 3 in all, if memory serves. And when actors and potential crew members asked to read the script, we would send the script with the dummy ending. There was even a fake ending where Dewey was the killer. They existed as a decoy and nothing more. Extreme measures, but we really wanted to keep the killer's identity a secret. Now, development. Williamson had contracted for 2 potential sequels to Scream when selling the script for the original based on 5-page proposals. He attached the script hoping to entice prospective buyers with the fact that they were not just buying a film but a franchise. And after a successful test screening for the original, at which Miramax executives were present, Craven was also given a contract to direct the 2 feature film. Well, Adrian says the original is the best, so that means the sequel is the worst. All right, Dimension Films considered pursuing development of a sequel in 1997 after Scream proceeded to gross more than $50 million in the first month of its release, with production being greenlit in March 1997, an increased budget of $24 million over Scream's $15 million. Courtney Cox making big bucks to have her left breast rubbed through her tank top and her bra by David Arquette. The production of the film suffered a significant setback when the script was leaked, revealing plot details, including the identity of the killers, resulting in the script being modified to change many details. In an interview, Craven commented on the rushed 6-month production schedule, with the film being expected ready for release on December 12th, less than a year after the release of Scream, and Williamson forced to rewrite his script. Pages for scenes would only be available ready on the day of filming, and others lacked significant detail that forced Craven to develop them as the scenes took place. Various titles were considered for the sequel at different points in the film's production, including Scream Again, Scream Louder, and Scream the sequel, before the studio decided to simply use Scream 2. We like the Vincent Price movie called Scream and Scream Again. Scream and Scream Again. We like that Vincent Price movie. Neve Campbell had been contracted to reprise her role as heroine Sidney Prescott in a potential sequel before filming had even begun on Scream, her character being the only one from the original film guaranteed to survive and lead a new film. Once production of the sequel was seen as inevitable, following the success of Scream, Dimension Films added sequel options for the actors whose characters had survived the previous film. Courtney Cox as ambitious news reporter Gail Weathers, David Arquette as retired Deputy Sheriff Dewey Riley. Oh, he's retired. He's living off his pension. Jamie Kennedy as film geek Randy Meeks, and Liev Schreiber as Cotton Weary, the man exonerated for the murder of Sidney's mother. Roger L. Jackson also returned to voice the character of Ghostface. I guess I should put Roger L. Jackson's name. In the Karate Man's talking about twin dragons. I thought this movie was about Scream 2. Karate Man says, I know I'm off topic. Okay, I guess I'm being redundant. I like Twin Dragons, but obviously Double Impact with Van Damme is way better and more superior. Twins Dragons obviously ripped off 1 year after it came up. I don't know. I haven't seen Double Impact. I can't really comment. Double Impact did the twin brother plot better. The action is better. Everything about it is better than Twin Dragons. Adrian loved Double Impact. I think that's his favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Coincidentally, Philip Chan, who is in Twin Dragons, was actually one of the main villains, Raymond Zhang, in Double Impact. Now, that is coincidence because both of them deal with twin brothers. Okay. So Karate Man says it's a ripoff. I will defer judgment until I see Double Impact. Not that I don't trust Karate Man, but I like to compare and contrast before I make a rash decision about ripoff movies. Anyway, both good films, not Adrian says both good films, no, not for the woke. Gotta go, guys. Sorry. Okay. Bye, Adrian. Speaking of Courtney Cox, funny enough, Van Damme had a special guest appearance on an episode of Friends, which she was flirting with them. Yet, Friends. So I got to add Friends and Scream to my list now. All right. Where was I? We do not like the film geek Randy Meeks. He's an ignorant fool who loves lamestream movies. We were going to add Roger L. Jackson in this. We do not like Courtney Cox in this film. What is with her outfit? She looks like a tramp, but she's not as good looking as everybody makes her out to be. She just looks like a white trash tramp, shanty tramp to me. Am I the only one who sees that? Am I being harsh on Courtney Cox? Okay, we said voices by voices by Roger L. Jackson. Okay, boom. I just added him. Cool. Having finalized the returning principal cast from Scream, the production approached their casting from Scream 2 in a similar manner, seeking established and popular actors, lamestream, largely sourcing from TV shows of that time, lamestream. In interviews, the production staff of the film remarked that they found approaching and securing the talent they wanted significantly easier than it had been for Scream, considering the financial and critical success of the film, but also believing the prior involvement of Drew Barrymore had lent the horror genre an element of credibility, which made serious actors eager to become involved. Oh boy. Let's get all the lamestream actors to follow in the footsteps of Drew Barrymore. Another woke idiot, dumb blonde. New cast included Sarah Michelle Gellar as sorority sister and film fan C.C. Cooper, Elise Neal as Sydney's friend and roommate Hallie. We do not like film fans in this movie. Jerry O'Connell as Sydney's boyfriend Derek, Timothy Oliphant as Mickey, and Laurie Metcalf as local reporter Debbie Salt. Early in development, Alicia Silverstone and Liv Tyler were approached to appear in the film's opening sequence, while Eric Mabius, Natasha Gregson Wagner, and Paula Marshall all auditioned for unspecified roles. According to Jamie Kennedy, Tobey Maguire was offered the role of Mickey, which he turned down. Many of the actors involved in the production, including Campbell, Cox, Gayar, and O'Connell, were starring in their own television series at the time, allowing the production limited availability to schedule their involvement. Gayar, in particular, was in between filming Buffy the Vampire Slayer and had only recently finished work on another Williamson Penn film, I Know What You Did Last Summer, 1997. Despite the hectic scheduling, Gayar admitted in an interview that she agreed to perform in Scream 2 without having read the script because of the success of Scream. Cha-ching! Metcalf had only finished her 9-year run on the popular sitcom Roseanne when she began work on Scream 2, and Craven was praising her ability to perform the what was it? What was her role? I can't spoil the ending. Okay. To obtain the role of Derek, O'Connell and other candidates had to audition by performing a scene from the film where the character sings, "I Think I Love You," from The Partridge Family. Oliphant's enrollment as Mickey was his first leading role in a feature film. Despite scheduling difficulties, Craven took their desire to participate in the film, despite their workload, as a compliment to the film's quality. What quality? The graphic violence, maybe? The surprise ending plot twist? If there is a plot, the cast was rounded out by Louis Arquette, father of David Arquette, as a local sheriff in charge of investigating the new murders. Dwayne Martin as Gail's cameraman Joel. Jada Pinkett Smith, bowed-headed Ho, and Omar Epps as Maureen Evans and Phil Stevens. Patrons of the fictional Stab film, who became the film's opening victims, and Portia de Rossi and Rebecca Gayheart as sorority sisters, Murphy and Lewis. Gayheart had auditioned for the role of Tatum Riley in Scream and auditioned multiple times for Scream 2 for the roles of Cece Cooper, Hallie, and Maureen Evans before attaining her eventual role. Minor roles were filled by Chris Doyle and Philip Pavel as Officer Richards and Officer Andrews, assigned to protect Sydney. Veteran actor David Warner from The Omen as Sydney's drama teacher, Joshua Jackson as an unnamed film student and another stupid idiot, and Nancy O'Dell as the unnamed reporter who would reprise the role in future installments of the series. I put her name in the description here. Karate Man says, I never watched Friends at all, but I do know Van Damme had an appearance, which is really the only interesting thing about that show. Okay. I don't really find that interesting, but okay. Oh, yeah, I know I'm off topic. Is that bunk bed at the top more likely that someone will bump their head on the wall? I don't even crawl up there because the space is too tiny. It's too close to the ceiling. How are you supposed to maneuver around up there? I think it's a poorly conceived bunk bed. There's too much space down here, and there's not enough space up here. So, where were we? Oh, yeah, we were going to edit this. Put Nancy O'Dell's name in here. Nancy O'Dell. All right, we got Nancy O'Dell in the description. Karate Man's not going to help me in the description with this movie, but he'll probably comment on, he probably has. I'm just being goofy. All right, we like it when Karate Man is goofy. Too bad you missed out on British Crumpet Man in the last video. Your favorite gay person from the UK. We said Tori Spelling. Luke Wilson from Idiocracy. We love Luke Wilson on this channel. And Heather Graham played themselves as characters in the Stab films, credited as Stab Sydney, Stab Billy, and Stab Casey, respectively. Ooh, we like Stab Billy. Tori Spelling is pretty good looking. She looks good. I like Tori Spelling. I have no idea who she is, but I like her. Spelling was cast based on a sarcastic remark by Campbell's character in Scream that she would be played by Spelling in a movie based on her life. Craven remarked that she was a good sport about the joke and she was happy to take the part for about 5 seconds with Luke Wilson. All right. Principal photography for Scream 2 took place over a 9-week period beginning in mid-June 1997 and a budget of $24 million. That's a lot of dough for 1997. Atlanta, Georgia, and Los Angeles were used to represent the state of Ohio, where the fictional Windsor College is situated in Scream 2. Another idiot woke university that deserves to be shut down. With filming taking place largely in Los Angeles and over 4 weeks in Atlanta, the opening scene featuring the premiere of the fictional Stab film was filmed over 3 days in the Vista Theater on Sunset Drive, Hollyweird. The exterior represented by the Rialto Theater in South Pasadena, California, due to the large number of extras present in the scene. Full details of what occurred were leaked onto the internet shortly after filming completed, which Craven cited as the production's first experience of a major plot leak. Again, where's the plot? We wanted all of those stupid college kids to die. We wanted that college to go away. The sorority homes used by the character Cece Cooper and a nearby party were also filmed in Pasadena, east of Los Angeles. The fictional Stab film was filmed in Malibu, California, Agnes Scott College just outside Atlanta, and UCLA, another woke university in Los Angeles, were used to represent the fictional Windsor College, which appears in the film. So there you have it. Stupid college kids going to stupid college following a script leak. And we've got the Omen guy who gets his head chopped off as the theater director. Following a script leak early into filming, security around the production was significantly increased with a focus on closed film sets and strict restrictions on what personnel could be present during filmings and have access to the script, with all the present required to sign non-disclosure agreements. The script itself was reprinted on specialty paper to prevent photocopying and was destroyed after use. All right, here we go. Post-production. Craven had difficulties passing Scream through the film rating body MPAA to receive an R rating to help the film maintain commercially viable. Yeah, NC-17 is the kiss of death for lamestream movies. Lamestream. Sending 8 different cuts and requiring the direct intervention of Dimension Films founder Bob Weinstein, the notorious rapist. No, that was Harvey Weinstein. To eventually obtain the necessary rating to release the film without significant cuts. Well, yeah. So they got Bob Weinstein, partner of the Weinstein Group, the Weinstein Company, TWC, to bribe the censors, essentially, with lots of money. So eager to avoid the same experience on Scream 2, Craven attempted to manipulate the MPAA by sending them a version of the film that had been edited to focus on and enhance the gore and violence present beyond what they actually wanted in the film, including reusing a clip of Omar Epps' character, Phil Stevens, being stabbed in the ear 3 times instead of only once seen in the final film, and the extended scene of Randy Meek's death that showed his throat being slashed. Craven's reasoning was that the parts of the film they wished to keep would be more acceptable when viewed and with the enhanced violence, and so the MPAA would force them to remove the footage they already did not want to keep while passing the content they did want. However, the MPAA granted Scream 2 an R rating for the most violent cut, as they believed the underlying message of the film was significant to warrant the message. So essentially the moral of the story here is, if you want to be a lamestream horror slasher filmmaker like Wes Craven, then all you got to do is insert politically incorrect woke nonsense, have your quota of 3 black victims, and that will suffice for a very violent final cut and the coveted R rating in lieu of the NC-17. Marco Beltrami returned to help the score for Scream 2, although there was a late inclusion by Danny Elfman in the form of the choral track Cassandra Aria, which plays during a scene where Campbell's character performs in a play. It's a bizarre theater scene. And again, the film's finale as Cassandra Aria reprise. That's the David Warner scene in the theater. Excerpts from the score of the 1996 film Broken Arrow by Hans Zimmer appeared in the film. In particular, guitar work by Dwayne Eddy for the character Dewey, replacing the tracks that had been developed for the character from the original Scream score. Beltrami would explain in an interview that the Zimmer piece was used as a placeholder for Beltrami's incomplete score during the test screening. The test audience reaction to it influenced the studio to keep the Zimmer piece, reducing Dewey's theme, which Beltrami had composed to fill its place, to minor use during more serious scenes involving the character. In 1998, Varese Sarabande released a 30-minute album with music from Scream and Scream 2, and 2016 Scream 2, the deluxe edition, was released, including the Elfman material and complete Beltrami score. So I guess I'll have to put Marco Beltrami's name in the music section now. So Karate Man says, British Crumpet Man. Oh no, the man who arrived on the Crime Wave review last year, I might add. Italian Crumpet Man, more like. Chinese Crumpet Man, Iraqi Crumpet Man, Bulgarian Crumpet Man, Jamaican Crumpet Man. I got a lot of fucking funny names. Only British Crumpet Man makes sense, because the British love them crumpets. British Crumpet Man, Russian Crumpet Man, British Crumpet Man, come out wherever you are. I know you're on the chat. I can smell you. You can run, but you can't hide. All right. So Karate Man is challenging British Crumpet Man. All right, we're going to add Marco Beltrami. Marco Beltrami. We got to put Marco Beltrami in the music session, as well as putting his name in the tags. Like that's going to really help me. Not. Scream 2 held its premiere on December 10th, 1997 at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, followed by general release on December 12th, 1997, less than a year after the release of Scream. After the unexpected success of Scream by late 1997, Scream 2 was considered such a potential box office success that the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies and James Cameron's future hit Titanic were moved from their release date of December 12th to December 19th so as not to face the film as competition. Box office. Scream 2 opened in 2,663 theaters, and it took $32.9 million on its opening weekend in box office receipts. That is massive. A $27 million increase over Scream. It went on to gross $101.4 million in the United States and $71 million in other territories, with a worldwide lifetime gross of, get this, $172.4 million. Its debut set the December opening weekend record until December 2000, being replaced by What Women Want from 2000. Stupid romantic fantasy with Mel Gibson. No. Yeah, Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt. Who cares about that nonsense? It also achieved the highest December weekend gross for 2 weeks until it was overtaken by Titanic, another movie which I refused to watch. Scream 2 enjoyed financial success on par with Scream, despite its movie production time and issues with script rewrites nearly matching the film's total gross of $173 million. Incredible. Scream 2 is currently the third highest grossing film in the slasher genre, again behind Scream. Scream 2 was the 21st highest grossing film of 1997, despite competition from blockbuster films such as Titanic and Men in Black. Well, there's another lamestream movie that Karate Man put on my list that I'm not too excited about. All right. On Review Aggregator, Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 82% based on 84 reviews with an average rating of 6.9 out of 10. I'm reviewing it lower. Right? Yeah. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. That's right. I'm reviewing it lower. The website's critical consensus reads, as with the first film, Scream 2 is a gleeful takedown of scary movie conventions that manages to poke fun at terrible horror sequels without falling victim to the same fate. Okay, I have no idea what that means, but there you have the website's critical consensus. On Metacritic, the film received a weighted average score of 63 out of 100 based on 22 critics. That's closer to my rating of 3 out of 5, indicating generally favorable reviews. On CinemaScore, audience gave the film an average grade of B plus on an A plus to F scale. I'm giving it a C. Both Gene Siskel and the New York Times' Janet Maslin gave the sequel positive reviews despite their negative response to Scream. Maslin remarked, Scream 2 almost works as straight satire. It's so sharp, pardon the expression, that no pretty young girls absolutely had to die. I have no idea what that means. Roger Ebert, another lamestream movie reviewer, stated the film was about as good as the original, but lamented that Scream 2 is gorier than the original, and that detracts from the witty screenplay. What witty screenplay? They wrote it in like 5 days. Time Out London was mixed in its response, calling the film superior to most other horror films, but poor in comparison to Scream. While Variety, that sounds more accurate. We give this one mixed rating. We like the Time Out London review. We do not like the Roger Ebert, New York Times, or Gene Siskel reviews. While Variety's scathing of Scream before its release positively received the sequel, saying characters ponder whether any sequel ever topped the original. Scream 2 is certainly worthy of being of that debate. Oh, really? That's a mere assertion. That's a common fallacy in reasoning. Empire's Kim Newman echoed this sentiment, saying some great comic and terrifying moments, but suffers for not being as original as the original, remarking that though the film had the same elements that made Scream a success, they were no longer surprising for having been in Scream. There was, however, criticism over the death of the character Randy Meeks, played by Kennedy. John Muir, author of Wes Craven, The Art of Horror, called the character's death the most devastating moment of the sequel and a bad call, but praised the development of the other surviving characters from Scream, calling Cox, Arquette, and Campbell's characters beloved. I did not like Cox or Arquette. I did like Campbell, though, in 2 and 3. She's very attractive. In contrast, Muir criticized all of the new characters in Scream 2, believing they never attained the same depth of Scream because of Scream 2's focus on increasing the body count and violence over the original, saying the film's killer could literally be anyone, as the audience is never provided with enough information about the new characters to form an opinion about them. Ebert also commented upon this, saying, "There's no way to guess who is doing the killing, and everyone who seems suspicious is almost sure to be innocent." That's actually one of the good qualities of the film that I found. It kept me guessing, had me on my toes. Scream 2 won few awards compared to its predecessor, with Campbell again receiving the most nominations and wins, having won 2 awards for Scream. She received a Saturn Award for Best Actress nomination and went on to win a Best Female Performance, despite having only a brief cameo appearance as Sidney Prescott in the film within the film Stab, shown in Scream 2. Tori Spelling became one of the nominees for a 1997 Golden Raspberry Award for Worst New Star. We like Tori Spelling on this channel. She gets the Golden Raspberry Award, which was tied with her role in The House of Yes. I've got to see The House of Yes, so I'm going to add Friends, Scream, and The House of Yes. The film also received Saturn Award nominations for Best Supporting Actress for Courtney Cox and Best Horror Film for Scream 2 itself. Wow, Saturn Awards and MTV Awards. Those are really credible awards. It's like getting 2024 Oscar. Scream 2 was released in U.S. territories on VHS on December 1st, 1998 by Buena Vista Home Entertainment, distributed in Canada by Alliance Atlantis. Scream 2 was released on DVD for the first time in the US on July 22nd, 1998, with a collector's edition following on September 26, 2000 in the Ultimate Scream Collection, and a separate release on August 7th, 2001. The collector's edition featured additional material, including outtakes, deleted scenes, the film's theatrical trailer, music videos of songs featured in the film, and director's commentary. Both releases were undertaken by Buena Vista Home Entertainment following the release of then series finale Scream 3. The three films were collected in the Ultimate Scream Collection by Dimension Films on September 26, 2000, a box set containing Beyond the Scream, a short documentary about the production of the three films, and additional material including screen tests of actors involved in the films, outtakes, and deleted scenes. So the Ultimate Scream Collection box set is the one that Adrian is talking about, the one that he has. Scream 2 remained unreleased in foreign territories, including Europe and Japan, until February 26, 2001, when it was released simultaneously with Scream and Scream 3 by Buena Vista Home Entertainment. Each film contained the additional content found in the collector's edition version of the U.S. release, including deleted scenes, outtakes, theatrical trailers, music videos, and commentary from each respective film's review. Additionally, the three films were collected together in a single pack as the Scream trilogy. So I stand corrected. Adrian does not have the Ultimate Scream Collection. He has the Scream trilogy because he's in Australia. Scream 2 was released individually in a collection with Scream and Scream 3 on Blu-ray on March 29, 2011, 2 weeks prior to the theatrical release of Scream 4 by Lionsgate Home Entertainment. In addition to the films, each release contained audio commentary, theatrical trailers, and behind-the-scenes footage. The film was released on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray on October 4th, 2022 by Paramount Home Entertainment. I still have yet to get my 4K television. Maybe next year. All right, let's see what IMDb says about Scream 2. Gets a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb. A whopping 200,000 ratings. Lame stream. 2 hours too long. 1997 rated R. It's ranked 1,906 in terms of popular movies. That's what we call lame stream. 2 years after the first series of murders, as Sydney acclimates to college life, the college should be blown up by the Ghostface. Someone donning the Ghostface costume begins a new string of killings. All right. This movie has 8 wins and 13 nominations, not the least of which is the Golden Raspberry Award for the lovely Miss Dumb Blonde. Well, I forgot her name already. Don't worry, I'll go back and I will add her romantic girly movie. I will go back and add it. All right. More like this: Scream 3, Scream 4, Scream, and Scream. there's a different movie. What? There's a Scream remake? Okay. They all get very high ratings. Scream 3 gets a 5.7. It's actually rated lower. Scream 4 gets a little bit higher, 6.2. And the original Scream, which Adrian likes, gets a 7.4. The Scream remake gets a 6.3, which is higher, which is tied with Scream 2 in terms of rating averages. Okay. 2 years after the events of Scream, Sidney Prescott and Randy are attending Windsor College. They are trying to get on with their lives till a new Ghostface killing spree begins with the help of Dewey and Gale. Sidney must find out who's behind the murders. As the body count goes up, the list of suspects goes down. You know, when you're watching Friday the 13th and you're not feeling sorry for the teenage victims? Okay, one scene in Kevin Williamson's screenplay was described simply as Wes Craven will make it scary. At around 16 minutes, Randy corrects film class guy number one's quotation of Ripley's famous exclamation in Aliens 1986, "Get away from her, you B word." But Randy is wrong. Film class guy number one was correct. Film class guy number one was supposed to misquote Aliens 1986, but Joshua Jackson spoke Jamie Kennedy's line, "Thinking fast." And to keep the scene going, Kennedy spoke the quote intended for a film class guy number one, "Stay away from her, you B word." All right. Like I really to make a sequel, cash in on all the movie murder hoopla. So it's our job to observe the rules of the sequel. Number one, the body count is always bigger. Number two, the death scenes are always much more elaborate. Carnage candy. Carnage candy. David, this script is awful. And number three, never ever under any circumstances assume the killer is dead. There are no opening credits to this movie. The DVD omits Robert Rodriguez's director's credit during the opening titles for Stab. This was featured in Siskel and Ebert, Amistad, Titanic, Good Will Hunting, the Apostle in 1997. She's Always in My Hair, written by Prince, as the artist formerly known as Prince, performed and produced by D'Angelo, courtesy of Capital. Got to put Prince in the music credits with Danny Elfman and Marco, what's his name? All right. So here's the review from somebody who actually rates it higher. Max Borg 89, dated April 13th, 2007 on IMDb. He calls it still fun, but less clever than the original. How do you make a sequel to a horror film whose whole plot was made of in-jokes and film references? Easy. Make the follow-up even more in-jokey and self-referential than its predecessor. This formula actually seems to work for Scream 2, at least in the first two acts. The prologue is arguably a masterclass in self-irony. An African-American couple, Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett Smith, bout-headed hoe, go to the movie theater where a new horror film called Stab is screening. This flick is based on Gail Weathers' Courtney Cox book, The Woodsboro Murders, which recounts the events of the first Scream As the movie begins, Smith's character complains about Stab being a film with no black people in it. Oh, the horror. How dare you, Whitey, not include black actors, just like Scream was. And predictably, this leads to the two African Americans being brutally murdered as the film within the film's prologue, with Heather Graham replacing Drew Barrymore, is shown on the screen so that the fictional and real deaths occur almost simultaneously. Yeah, I thought I was watching Demons. Anyway, from there on, things take an unusual turn. The media go crazy about the killings, and once again, Sidney Prescott, Neve Campbell, is in the spotlight as she and her friend Randy, Jamie Kennedy, must protect themselves from the new foe, who are apparently mimicking what happened in the past, an obvious reference to the first film's "movies don't create psychos" line. The main charm of the original Scream was its ability to almost seamlessly combine clever in-jokes and a believable plot. This time around, the in-jokes are the best thing in the movie, while I have to disagree with that. While the story, particularly in the overblown conclusion, suffers from merely repeating key scenes from the first film. Now, this might be a satire on the lack of originality in most horror sequels, and it would work if the characters were developed correctly. Sadly, such a thing doesn't happen, with Sidney being reduced to the usual girl who keeps running and screaming. Fitting, huh? And everyone else, including Liev Schreiber, who gets more screen time in the sequel, playing stereotypes with the exception of David Arquette, very likable as a nice cop again, trying to solve the case, and Kennedy, who has a great time stating the rules to follow in a sequel. So here we have a retired cop who doesn't even have a concealed weapon on him. He's just using his limp hand to go after Ghostface. Ironically, the movie's funniest scene has a bunch of film students discovering follow-ups that are better than the originals. Why is it funny? I thought it was stupid. And while few could have anything to say about Aliens Terminator 2, also known as T2, or The Godfather Part 2, it must be said that Scream 2, while fun and watchable, most certainly doesn't have the same sharpness that made its predecessor an above-average horror film. So that may as well have been an Adrian review right there. And I am... what does the back of your camera look like? Is it a wall? Yeah, it is a wall. I have the table up against the wall. So Karate Man's still in the chat room, I guess. He retracted 99% of his. And next on my list are The Rookie 1990, Daylight 1996, and Fast and Furious 6 2013. So that's what I've got coming up down the pike for next week, or this weekend, or whenever I get around to it. Laters.